One of the most important aspects of a car is the engine. But some cars have engines that don't belong in them. In this video we will be looking at 5 of these cars. Number 5. The EcoBoost is a base version of the Mustang, and was introduced in 2015. It pushes a respectable 310 horsepower. But the problem is that powering this muscle car is a 2.3-liter inline 4. And that is a problem. Why would you buy a Mustang with a 4-cylinder? A car that is famous for having a big loud V8? Yes, it is cheaper than the V8 version and has better fuel economy. But why buy a Mustang if you care about the fuel economy? Let's at least compare the sounds of the EcoBoost versus the V8 Mustang. Number 4. MC-12 is most famous for starring in the trilogy Back to the Future. The DeLorean would probably be forgotten if these movies didn't exist. With its gull-wing doors and futuristic looks, it became a classic. Many people would think that this sporty-looking vehicle has a powerful engine, but no, it has a Renault engine. This engine was used in many cars like the second-generation Espace, but there it had 20 more horsepower than the 130 horsepower DeLorean. For comparison, the first-generation Mercedes A-Class was more powerful than the DeLorean. But the bad things don't end here. The DeLorean failed because of its poor quality and high price. And the DeLorean company went bankrupt in 1982, 3 years before the first Back to the Future movie. Number 3. Imagine this: a modern hot rod. The styling and power of an old-school hot rod with modern technologies. That sounds too good to be true, and that is true with the Prowler. They put a lazy V6 into this with an automatic transmission. You may be wondering why. Well, their explanation is that they wanted to make this car a little responsible. But really the V8 just didn't fit, and it didn't make sense for them to make an all-new V8 that would fit. With around 200 horsepower, it went from 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. For a modern hot rod, that is very slow. But the worst thing is that they teased us with a manual V8 concept called the Howler a few years later. Simply, the Prowler was a rare disappointment with only around 10,000 examples built. Number 2. AMGs were famous for being loud and crazy versions of normal Mercedes. But it changed, and the worst example is the 63. At its peak in the 2000s, the C63 had an enormous 6.2-liter engine. But nowadays, it has a little 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid. They didn't even try to put a 6-cylinder in it. Yeah, I know it is more powerful than the older V8 C63s. But who cares? Just listen to the V8. Now tell me if you still would rather have the new one. No wonder nobody is buying these. They cost almost $100,000. For that you get an enormous downgrade from the last generation. And lastly, in my opinion, it doesn't really look great. Tell me one thing that is better than the older generation. Number 1. The BMW i8 is a 3-cylinder hybrid supercar. Yes, you heard that right. But it isn't some super modern hybrid system with 1,000 horsepower. The electric motor makes 1/3 of the power of this car, which is 370 horsepower. That is a shame. The i8 certainly looks pretty good, but it is destroyed by this underpowered engine. And that makes me question, why didn't they just make it fully electric, or just put an inline 6 into it? It would be the perfect follower to the BMW M1. But no, BMW thought the perfect successor would be an overpriced, ugly SUV. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching this video. I would be happy if you liked this video or subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.